Hi, everybody, this is Angelo Quinones, and you reach Sign Ministries. Sign Ministries is designed to give you dependable and accurate answers that come straight from God's holy and inspired word, the Bible. Well, I have my baby Anna Devane with me, and everybody's basically sleeping. John Donnelly, my son, is sleeping as well. Now, we might get interrupted. That's why I said this is part one. So let's just pray before we start this study. In Jesus' name. Well, guys, this is the coup de grace. This is the key. Now, it's very, 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 basically early in the morning here. So forgive me if I'm a little sluggish. Okay, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. It can be earlier than that, except for 12 o'clock, I guess. You know what I'm saying. But it just hit 1, so it's almost like 12. Is that what I'm saying? So I'll be my charming self. Don't worry about it. Let's get back to the scriptures. Now, this is the ANASTASIS series, and so that's just the deal. Now, I'm basically going to read 2 of the 5 scriptures over here. Okay, 2 of the 5 scriptures, and we're going to get into all of them. But I just want to read from Matthew chapter 27, in particular, verses 52 and 53. Okay? I don't want to give you a lot of verses because we're trying to remember we're trying to remember just a verse that has to do with the bodily resurrection of Jesus, not the surrounding context. Okay, we could read the surrounding context, and we will, but putting it into our minds, let's just use the verse that actually says, or at least 2 verses that actually says that Jesus, was bodily raised, or would be bodily raised, or whatever the case may be. Okay, whatever sense it falls under. You understand what I'm saying? All right, so that's just a deal. It's going to be sad to leave the study. This has been a fascinating study, basically. So I have had fascinating debates and campaigns. The law of agency was a fascinating study. Like with Jehovah's Witness named Mark from Missouri. That was very interesting. Of course, the Trinity debates are very interesting always. The Archangel debates and things like that. But the Bible studies that I have done that have been very interesting so far has been the Trinity series and this Anastasis series. And I have a lot of other series also, but these 2 are really, really taking the prize. Verse 52 starts like this from the NASB. The tombs were open. Okay, the tombs were open. This was happening at the cross. After Jesus died, the tombs were open, and many bodies of the saints who have fallen asleep were raised. Now, those are the saints being raised. This is Jesus' resurrection verse right here, verse 53. And it says over here, coming out of the... Okay, wait for a second over here. Let me see. It says over here, verse 53, and coming out of the tombs after his, meaning Jesus's resurrection, after his is capitalized the H, so that's how we know is Jesus. Okay, after coming out after his resurrection. Okay, that's anastasis. After his resurrection, they entered the holy city and appeared to many. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So, end quote, by the way. So over here we read, okay, that Jesus was raised from the dead, and then after that, the people who have fallen asleep before, okay, the crucifixion, before the resurrection of Jesus, came out of the tombs being raised from the dead. Okay, so Jesus was the first fruits of the resurrection, but after the time of the cross, not before. So this idea that a Jehovah's Witness will say, well, I mean, how could it be the firstborn from the dead, meaning the first fruits from the dead, the first one raised from the dead? Okay, if he wasn't even the first one raised from the dead at the time of, 2 Kings and John's Gospel, meaning John's Gospel, chapter 11, when Lazarus was raised from the dead. and a young lad that was raised from the dead in the book of Kings that said, my head, and then died. But we're not talking about that time. He said he's the first fruits. Okay, he's the first one raised after his own resurrection. He's the first one. No one came before, okay, Jesus to be raised from the dead after Jesus' resurrection from the dead. Of course, after the cross. You understand what I'm saying? That's how you have to answer the Jehovah's Witnesses like that, or anybody else that doesn't believe that he was the first fruits. Okay, you understand? So let's read verse 53 again, because this is the coup de grace. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, meaning as after Jesus' resurrection, they entered the holy city and appeared to many. Now, the one thing that takes precedent over anything, presidents, something like that. So I'm forgetting my English here in the Philippines, is the resurrection of these saints that have fallen asleep, even over the resurrection of Jesus. Okay, that is the main deal. Okay, going on, everything that's going on, tombs being opened, the rocks being sheared, and bodies coming out. I mean, from verse 51 is talking about already these people who have fallen asleep and raised from the dead in verse 53 and appearing to the city. So it's really talking about the main vein is talking about that this is talking about is the resurrection of the saints. But it lets you know that they were not raised from the dead before Jesus. So this is a very important scripture to use in conjunction with Colossians chapter 1 verses 15 and 18. We understand it better. Well, you have verse 18 anyway of Colossians chapter 1. Okay, he's the first one born from among the dead. Okay, that's what firstborn mean. Okay, the first one born out, extracted, elevated from Sheol, from among the dead ones. Don't necron or just necron. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just the deal. That's the deal across the board. And this is a very important fact to know that Jesus was bodily raised from the dead. Bodily raised from the dead. I'm not saying that his body came from Sheol. I'm saying that the body that was in the tomb, okay, came out of the tomb, being the same body that he had as a birthday suit. Okay? And he's always going to have that body. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just the deal. Remember, this is one of the crucifixion chapters in the Bible. The true crucifixion chapter in the Bible. This is Matthew chapter 27, Mark chapter 15, Luke chapter 23, and John chapter 19 are all of the 4 crucifixion chapters. You have 4 gospel accounts, okay, not 5, 6, or 7. You understand what I'm saying? And in those gospel accounts, you have a total of 4 chapters that talk about the crucifixion of Jesus, and 4 chapters plus 1 that talk about the resurrection of Jesus. I say plus 1 because, John goes on and speaks about his life after the resurrection in chapter 21. You can't forget that chapter, what happened there. It's a very important chapter. All right, now, so that's just the deal. Very, very important scriptures. Let's get into the Greek, because the Greek is the standard. Nothing else is the standard except for the Hebrew of the Old Testament and some other languages. Aramaic, you see that in Daniel, and some other books of the Bible. You see some Egyptian words here and there, including the book of Genesis. But nothing takes precedence over the Hebrew and the Greek of the 2 testaments. You understand what I'm saying? That's just the deal. I already have it heating up for you guys here in Matthew chapter 27 and verse 52. I hope so anyway. And behold, and this is an imperative. It's almost always an imperative, behold. Especially when Jesus is speaking, or one of the apostles, or whatever the case may be. It's always an imperative. It's always a mood of command, And it says over here, translating the copulative, connective, linking, conjunction word, kai. Nowadays pronounced ke. Not kai, but ke. You understand what I'm saying? It'll be wah or why in the Old Testament Hebrew side of things. Wah or why. You understand what I'm saying? Um, uh, Yeshli ach ve achot. I have a brother and a sister. Ve is and in modern Hebrew. Ach is brother, okay, and achot is sister. You understand what I'm saying? Let's get back to this. AMA means, okay, aorist imperative active. Okay, idu. Okay, idu. And the epsilon, I believe, is not here, but the epsilon was used to form, you understand what I'm saying? The second person singular word here, and it's a second person singular. Um, you know, what do you call it? Is idu this imperative over here? Okay, behold. The normal imperative morphemes are to, te, tosa, and passive side of the paradigm is tos, te, tosa. So that's just the deal. Idu, behold, look. Okay, Jesus will use this in Luke's gospel, telling the disciples to look. It might be idete there, but that's just the deal. Look, the ta it says here ta, neuter article. There are 24 articles in the article paradigm. The veil of the temple. The veil says kata pe tasma. My baby's laughing at my Greek. Kata pe tasma. It's a veil. Such a long Greek word for a very small. Well, it wasn't a small thing. The veil was a monstrosity. You understand what I'm saying? It says temple over here. No, it's not tabernacle. Na'u. And that's from the Greek word naas, and actually na'an. This is used in verse 19 of chapter 2 of the Gospel Kata Yohane. This is the word that Jesus used. Okay, he spoke about the temple of his body, genitive of the opposition. It's the same Greek word he used, but he used the neuter side of things, not the neuter side of things, the accusative side of things, na'an. Okay, destroy, and that's an imperative. Okay, na'an tutan, and in 3 days I will raise it, autan, from the dead. And he did. He raised his own body from the dead. And the other two members of the Holy Family, the Holy Trinity, actually had a part in his ANASTASIS. You understand? So that's just the deal. Okay, it says tu na'u, the temple. Destroy this temple. Well, not destroy this temple, but and the temple and the veil of the temple. Okay, was torn. Okay, as he stay, and that's an aorist passive. The data and the eta is proven that nowadays called fita and eta. Okay, as he stay. So that's just the deal there. There. From apa is up here, but that's an illusion. From, let me see, top, it says anothen. Okay, from top. Okay, to, and that's heos. Bottom, and that's kato. Bottom, there's an adverb there. Bottom. Hi, my love. Into, and then it says over here, ace into two. Now, that's the famous word duo. And and that's a feminine article, hey. Now they pronounce E, like E Turkia. Earth, and that's gay. And gay was shaken. Was shaken. It says over here, este was shaken. Again in the aorist passive. And, translating Kai, the, and that's high, and that's a feminine article, nominative singular, high. Rocks, and that's Petrai. From, okay, Petra. This is a large rock. This is large. This is large. This is not Petros. This is Petra. You have lithos, Petros, and Petra. Okay, being the main vein words for rock or ledge or whatever the case may be. Some of them fall into that category. Okay, in the Greek Old Testament, the Greek New Testament. Just look at Kennethan's writings. The Greek historians who wrote, in particular, Anabasis. Okay, Anabasis, studied by Julius Armanti, Dr. Julius Armanti, when he was writing. You know what I'm saying? His famous booklet, if you were around at the time, it was famous, and his name was Peter of Pulp. Okay, that should be in print always. Okay, rocks. Okay, Petrai. Okay, Petras. Incidentally, this word was not used for the Apostle Peter's name. He didn't say, "And I will name thee Petra." So what if it's feminine? Could have been used. So what? Okay, it could have been used. It wasn't. He didn't call him Petra. He could have. He didn't call him Listos. It's a larger piece of rock. You know, the stones that cover the mouth of the tombs were called lithos. Okay, rolled away the stone. That's lithon. In the case, I believe, construction. You know what I'm saying? He called them Petras. And upon rocks of this kind, Petra is a different word. There's no necessity to use either or, unless you want to make it clear that Petra will be the foundation, okay, the foundation of the kirk, of the church. That's the only reason why you make a switch. You don't make a switch because it's necessary, because Peter is male. No, you don't have that going on. No, there's no such thing. Doesn't make a difference if it's male or female. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? That's just a deal. You understand? All right. Now, I get into that in my study on Petros, and that's found and recorded, obviously in the Bible, but that's found, okay, in my second channel, Angelo, or I think it's Angelo K. Rucci or Angelo Rucci, RUCCI. And so hopefully you guys can make that channel grow. Hi, my love. Love. Hi. Okay, rocks. Hi, and then rocks. Okay, we're split, it says over here. We're split. Eschi Stesan. So you see the this is aorist passive though. Okay, aorist passive. So the theta and eta are here. Okay. Aorist passive construction. And is in the indicative mood, the mood of projected reality. Now this is the verse 53, where Jesus is said to have been raised from the dead, okay, after his resurrection. And Greek word kai, the, and that's also more than one, because it's ta with an alpha. It's in the plural. The tombs. It doesn't say memorial tombs, by the way. Even though you have mu, nu, and eta here, or mi, ni, and eta, as it is pronounced. It says mane, mea, okay, and the alpha is putting that into the plural. You don't have memorial tombs over here. They don't translate this memorial tombs. Okay. Okay, you could say memorial, but not memorial tombs. And Jehovah's Witnesses are famous for putting two words to translate one word. Now, I know, listen, in Greek, I'm not ignorant that sometimes you need to use two words or three words to translate one word. But that's if it's necessary. You understand what I'm saying? So you will add the word continuous in your participial translation, okay? Or while, or whatever the case may be, when it's necessary. Or in a genitive of relationship, Jesus to Mary, in Greek, right? Jesus to Mary. Let me see. Hi, Jesus, or just Jesus. Um, ha, Maria. Well, the ha doesn't go with Mary's name, so you have to put Jesus the Son, because that's masculine article right in front of her name. It says, hey, Jesus the Son of Mary. That's necessary. You understand what I'm saying? If it's not necessary, then you don't have to do it. Cutting off, cutting off after a word that means and translating a word that means discipline or punishment. It says it's not necessary. Or in union with Christ. Well, you don't need to put in union with Christ. You just say in Christ. And Christo, it will be in the dative case. In union with Christ. Verse 3 of chapter 1 of Ephesians. It's not necessary, but you need to do it if you're Jehovah's Witness, because then your doctrine will be exposed to be a fraudulent doctrine. So you have to make a Bible like that. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so not only them, but other people as well. They do bad translations. The Mormon Church is famous for their bad translations. The Father having a father in Revelation chapter 1, either 4 or 5. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just a deal. And there are other cults and sects. Let me see. Where was I at? Atoms. Okay, menemea. Okay. Mu, nu, eta, mu, epsilon, iota with the circumflexion alpha. Tombs. Memorial tombs is not here. Okay, just remember that. You understand what I'm saying? You can't lie, cheat, and squeal. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just a deal. Let's get back to this. What opened? So that's in the aorist passive, indicative passive. Ane o thesan. Okay, the eta and eta there. That's the aorist passive morpheme. Here, okay, is theta and epsilon in participles. Many says over here pala bodies. Okay, somata actually somata from somata bodies. That's in the plural of the, and that's stone. So what's coming up is in the genitive plural. Don't. Sorry about that, guys. Let me see. Where am I at? So where am I at though? Let me see. I keep on hitting something with this magnifying glass over here. There's a police whistle in there, and attached to it, and so that's making it jump the screen. So sorry about that, guys. Says over here having. Let's see. Fall. Let me see. Sorry, it says before that. Any bodies of the saints of the stone. All right. Okay. Many bodies. Where's the saints though? Did I skip it though? Let me see saints though around here. Of the. Let me see. This paloi, and so you have of the. Okay, of the. Here of the having fallen asleep. So that's in the perfect tense. It says que koi me menon. Okay, that's in this participle is in the genitive. This is participle that's in the perfect tense. It's que koi me menon. So you have the omega and nu not as an active morpheme here in this participle, like you see in huparchon, zon, labon, like that. But this is a genitive case morpheme. So the genitive case is attached after the participial morpheme mena, actually. When the men is here. You understand? That's just a deal. Oh, my love. Daddy's here, my love. Daddy's here. Daddy love you, my love. The reduplicating consonant kappa, the kappa reduplicated because of the perfect tense into another kappa connected by connecting vowel epsilon, like in tetelestai. And the Greek word that means behold in what is it, verse 11 of chapter 4 of 1 John. It's the same sort of deal. Okay, always connected by connecting vowel epsilon when it reduplicates the consonant in the perfect tense. Never any other letter. Talking about consonantal reduplication. So that's a dead giveaway of the perfect tense. Okay. I see here. All right, so that's just a deal. So let's just see. Saints is way after. Not a lot of emphasis there. Saints. Okay, agion saints, and that's in the genitive masculine plural. The on is proving that. Like in the articles don, all across the board for all genders. And it's very hard to concentrate on my baby. Making noises and stuff like that, Arroz, she's a special child. Arroz, okay, egerte san, arroz. Okay, so that's a AIP. Okay. You have the augment here. The epsilon was, the stem here is eger. Okay, without the omega, egero is a lexical form. You see the famous iota in the present tense sometimes like that, And as this is tagged by 453 or 1453, egero is always tagged by 1453, egero. Okay, you see it in the Gospels, the Synoptic Gospels, in the last chapter, the resurrection chapter, in verse 6, except for another construction in the infinitive in John's Gospel, chapter 20, verse 9. That's an infinitive there. The other Gospels in the resurrection accounts chapters has an aorist passive, though, just like this one. But I don't believe the sigma alpha and nu are there in those accounts, in those chapters and verses. I cloned those verses, verse 6 of each chapter, so it's easy to remember. Egerte sando. You understand? Egerte san. So you have the eta, gamma, epsilon, rho, theta and eta, now they call theta and eta, sigma alpha nu. Okay, the theta and eta are used for the aorist passive morpheme here. Okay, eger is the stem. Okay, now this is a clear teaching that Jesus was raised from the dead first. Okay, so this is part 2. Did she drink the milk, hon? Good. So this is part 2, and sorry about the music in the background. It's kind of sort of karaoke music time here in the Philippines. So we were talking about, the resurrection of Jesus, that that he was raised up first before many of the bodies of the saints arose. Okay, now the key word is after. That they arose after Jesus' resurrection. You understand? Greek word meta for after, and it's taking the genitive case. But let's go back a little bit and sort of rehash what we studied. So it says over here, Kai, and is translating that having gone forth is excel. And that's a participle. A participle in English is an ing word. Sitting, drinking, eating, tasting, kicking, swimming, whatever the case may be. But in Greek, you don't use an ing. Of course, you use different, you use other constructions, to put that into the participial form. You understand? Having has, you put the ing in the verb, having gone. So the word for gone, okay, forth is, it doesn't take the ing. No, the helping what takes it. Having gone forth. So the x, and you see, I think the x here, you see the word for out, x, ek. You understand? Because he has the kappa there. So exceltantes, okay? And this is active. You see the nu natal here, the active participial, one of the active participial morphemes, and the maximum. I'm forgetting my English here too in the Philippines, and the masculine side of the paradigm. You understand what I'm saying? Omicron tau is another one. It's sort of an alternative one. This is the main vein one, nun tau. You see the case ending for the nominative plural here, epsilon and sigma, like in Pontes, patres, right, for father, you know. And so you see the case ending here. You see the verbal and the noun systems joined up together at the hip. You understand what I'm saying? Connecting vowel omicron is there, and that's just the deal. So you have exceltantes. You understand? So that's just the aorist participle active construction. Spelled out epsilon kasi, epsilon lambda, sometimes called lambda. Theta nowadays called theta. When I say nowadays, I mean in modern Greek. It's just a very lazy way of saying modern Greek. You understand what I'm saying? Nowadays it's quicker. Okay, theta nowadays called theta. In and of itself, theta means divine. It doesn't make everything divine, every name, everything. No, but I'm just telling you, in and of itself, theta nowadays called theta. The first letter in the Greek word for theos, or thea with an alpha goddess. In and of itself, theta. That's why they're using that first letter, theta, because it means divine in and of itself. Now, does that mean that Thomas is divine, is a divine being? No. I'm just telling you what it means. Every letter has a meaning. Okay? The sigma means to synchronize. The beta means basis or foundation. The alpha in ANASTASIS is perfect because it means rising. Alpha means rising. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just the deal. Having gone forth, okay, exceltantes. And let me just pray for the continuation of God's blessing upon the study, because this is part 2. So, Holy Father and merciful God, we just come to you hoping that you will continuously bless our study. This is part 2. Cleanse my sins by the precious blood of Jesus, and edify the listener and the speaker. Fill the speaker with power, boldness, and clarity, and a recollection of things for the edification of your dear people. In the name of Jesus, amen. We need his continuous blessing, you know. Having gone forth, okay, fine. Having gone forth out, and that's ek, of the, okay, and ton, so the noun is going to be in the genitive plural. The omega in the nu is the genitive plural morpheme. Okay, it could be used for other things in Greek also. This is a very popular thing, omega nu. We just looked at a participle. Sometimes omega nu is a participial morpheme, like in huparchon. I just mentioned it. Huparchon, labon, zone. You know, like that. You understand what I'm saying? Dums. Mene, meon. Just think of M&M's. Hello, my love. And she's here even in part 2, several days after. This is several days after part 1, you know what I mean? This Matthew chapter 27, verses 52, 53 study. And our dear Anna Devane is still dear and sweet. You know that she has a video that has well over 8,000 views? It's amazing. She almost tied the second place record for video uploads in my career. The first one is 19,000 on the Tatakramatan. Just check out my first channel, Angelo Kiki Quinones, KY. And the second most viewed of I'm talking about my personal videos. I'm not talking about, anything else like Stafford or White or anything like that, or whoever else. But I'm talking about my own stuff. It's 8,700. It's a mock debate between me and Greg Constantante, which posed as I think he posed as a Jehovah's Witness. I think did he pose as a Jehovah's Witness? I think he did. So that's 8,700, but that's almost tied by Anna. It's almost tied. We have that in 11 years. She's doing it in half a year. So So I guess that's just the deal. Dooms is mene meon. Just think of M&Ms. That's all. I like to think of English words to sort of mimic the Greek pronunciation to remember to retain, the word in mind. It's just like the word for confess. I sort of used what Ralph Crandon of the Honeymooners said, hamala, 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 because it sounds like that. Okay, so, that's just the deal. Now, dooms, it doesn't say memorial dooms. So I don't know whether Jehovah's Witnesses, so-called, because they're not witnessing for the true God, you understand, of Israel, they're not. Will a false witness speak lies, the Bible says? You understand what I'm saying? Are you speaking for me? Jesus said, God, in the Old Testament, logos anyway, before the incarnation. Mene meon, okay, tombs. You know what I'm saying? Out of the tombs. After meta, that's the word that I wanted to see. This is key. After Jesus' resurrection, after his resurrection. They weren't resurrected before. So again, I know I'm rehashing, but this is part 2. If the Jehovah's Witnesses say, well, he can't be the first fruits, he's not the firstborn. Firstborn doesn't mean that he was resurrected first. Okay, that's what it means because of verse 18 of chapter 1 of Colossians. That's what it means. That's the perfect way to answer the witnesses according to the firstborn argument. The way that Walter Martin had us doing it in the beginning is good, but it doesn't tell you why he has the preemptive rights. Having been raised up first is telling you why he has the preemptive rights of sonship. So the two answers go in hand. The one that I'm telling you about, that's better because it's based on verse 18 of the same chapter 1 of Colossians. Okay, he's the firstborn from among the dead, from the dead, okay? And then you could go to the Jehovah's Witness and use, Dr. Walter Martin's favorite passages to speak of Jesus' preempted rights of sonship. You can go to Genesis chapter 41, verses of 51 and 52, and go to Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 9, or you want to. But the better answer is found just in a few verses down the road, and from verse 15 to verse 18. You understand what I'm saying? He's the firstborn from among the dead, from among the dead. You understand? Anyway, just use those two answers. The one that I'm giving you is better. Toms. Mene meon. After. Meta. And that's going to be taking the genitive. No doubt, not the accusative, but the genitive. After. Okay, meta is a preposition. A preposition shows you the relationship that two words have together. You understand what I'm saying? Meta. Okay? It is spelled out. Hi, my love. It's spelled out mu, sometimes pronounced mu, and nowadays pronounced me. There goes the nowadays again. You know what I'm saying? Epsilon tau nowadays called tough. I'm tough, man. I'm a tough guy. You know what I'm saying? Alpha with the grab marker. So it's not meta, it's meta. Okay, you understand? And then we have the, and that's tain. That's a feminine article found right in front of thea. Goddess, found and recorded in Praxis Apostolon, the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 19. The goddess, you understand what I'm saying? That false goddess, you understand what I'm saying? But coming back to this, after the resurrection, and that's actually, okay, all right, gersin. Now, usually in our study, I'm trying to say, resurrection is always anastasis or anastami in our study so far. In the verses that clearly teach and preach, cogently, carefully, clearly, the resurrection of Jesus. That's what we're trying to collect. We're not trying to collect shadow types and figures. We're not. Even though we did collect one of them, found and recorded in verse, I believe it's verse 19 of chapter 11 of Hebrews. So we did one of those. Okay, we collected one of those. A pageant, similitude, a type or figure. You understand what I'm saying? Because Isaac was playing a role of Jesus being crucified and raised from the dead, sacrificed and raised from the dead. You understand what I'm saying? So this is not anastasis. This is actually, it's sort of strange because, like I said, it's not even found in our study so far. We studied all the verses that have to do with the resurrection of Jesus and Praxis Apostolon and the Acts of the Apostles. All of them found in so many books of the New Testament, including 10 of the 14 books that Paul wrote, if he wrote Hebrews, have clear teachings on the resurrection of Jesus. Galatians 1:1, Ephesians chapter 1 and chapter 2. It's not in Titus, it's not in Philemon, it's not in 1 Thessalonians, but it's in Second Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 10. It's in it's First Thessalonians. I don't know if I said second, but First Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 10. Second Timothy chapter what is it? Chapter 2 verse 8. Okay. Romans chapter 1 verse 4, chapter 4 verse 25, chapter 10 verse 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verses 4, 12, 15, and 20. We're putting all these in our memory. Okay, several in 2 Corinthians, including chapter 4 and chapter 5. Again, Galatians 1:1. You understand? So he in Hebrews, if he wrote that, chapter 13 verse 20. So those are clear to you, and don't forget, 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 3. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just the deal. It's not in Jude, it's not in 2nd, 3rd John, but it's in 1st John. You understand? Well, let's get back to this. Resurrection here is the Greek word. It's usually anastasis, but it's not. It's the Greek word egersin. Epsilon, gamma, epsilon, rho, sigma. Okay, sometimes called the intervocalic sigma. Iota and nu, nowadays called ni. So that's said to be resurrection, and then that's an accusative feminine singular construction. You understand? And that's just it. Egersin. So that's it's usually egero, but this is not even a verb anyway. Egero is a verb. Of him, meaning of Jesus, autou, the resurrection of him. Okay, after his resurrection, after the resurrection of him, okay, of Jesus. They entered, okay, and that's a AIA, aorist indicative active construction. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the reason why there's no augment, okay, nothing lengthened, is because it begins with a diphthong, not diphthong, diphthong. And Julius Armanti got the spelling wrong in page 20 of his first, I think his first or second edition has a diphthong in two different spellings on page 20, but he was wonderful, so we'll forgive him. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just a deal. Nobody's perfect. Mounds has a mistake in some of his writings. He has mistakes in some of his writings, typos. Greek for the Rest of Us has typos. Mouse's Complete Expository Dictionary of Old and New Testament Word, as wonderful as it is, that has typos. Form, it belongs in verse 12 of chapter 16 of Mark. Okay, but it is found in verse 14 in his lexicon. So everybody makes mistakes. That's why they have erasers on pencils. You understand what I'm saying? Eser chamai, and this is okay. You understand? This is let me see. This is a deponent word. Epsilon, iota, sigma, epsilon, rho, chi, omicron, mu, alpha, iota, omai. This is the omai word. Okay, you understand? Is and the formula for the deponent word is What's the formula? A deponent word is hard to crank up, you know what I'm saying, in the evening. Okay. A deponent word, though, so that's the key word, though middle or passive in form is active in meaning. It's about time I got that, you know what I'm saying? So this is es el fan. Hi, Han. Es el fan. They entered. Okay? No augment because of the, epsilon iota deal, no lengthening of it, of the diphthong, All right? So that's just the deal. And this is an active construction, and that's just the deal. They entered into ace, not to be confused with haste. That means one, haste. Understand? Ace is into or to. The thing, the holy Hagion city. Pauline. The city. Pauline. Now the lexical form is police. That's where you get the word police. You understand what I'm saying? Police. Okay. The holy city. Hagion is in the accusative case construction, and city also. Okay, so that's just the deal. And tain is accusative, like I said before. There's 24 articles in the article paradigm, and it says over here, translating kai, and appeared. And that's an AIP though. Appeared. Okay, appeared. Oops. There goes the police whistle again, or the magnifying glass. Appeared. And that's ene fa ni stesan. Appeared. From emphanizo. Emphanizo. Or dzo. Or with a D. Dzo. Okay? Check with your teacher because it's hard to say dzo. I never say dzo with a D sound. You understand what I'm saying? I always say z. It's like the Hebrew word meme menu. Well, the nu reduplicated, and I never mentioned the second one. I think. Okay, I cheat on the second one. I can't cheat on the first reduplicating consonant. The mem, I should say. And that's good. That's good for the Trinity. That verse. Man has become like one of us. Verse 22 of chapter 3. That's meme menu. Nu means us. Like one of, quote, of us, end quote, of us is meme menu. But I never say meme menu. And I don't break it apart like that. It's hard to say. You could cheat on some of these things. Okay. Especially when the word doesn't sound like anything else, Appeared, AIP. That's what I want to say. Passive construction. This is the aorist passive construction. You see the two morphemes over here. You see the sigma and alpha being the aorist passive, the aorist construction there. Oh, wait a minute, though. This is aorist passive, though. Wait a minute. No. USA, no. Forget that. Cut. So the spelling of this again is epsilon nu, epsilon phi, alpha nu, iota with the cube marker, sigma, theta, eta, sigma, alpha, nu, and then the first epsilon has a soft breathing marker, so it's not he, it's e. Appeared, you understand, to many, and many is the to many is the is in the dative case, the case of interest. Palois. So I believe the iota and sigma is the dative morpheme there, and that sort of what, you understand what I'm saying? It's like twice and twice for the masculine and neuter article plural construction. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So that's just the deal. So that's palois, and that's too many. Okay, it almost looks like city, doesn't it? Though Almost looks like city, but it's two lambdas here. And then, so that's just a deal. So the lexical form is palus. Okay, so don't be confused with city. So this is a P, typifying a Greek structure, that P looking letter. Omicron, lambda, lambda, omicron, iota with the circumflex and final sigma. You understand what I'm saying? Well, anyway, we learn that verse 53 has Jesus being raised from the dead clearly, cogently, and carefully, and correctly. Okay? The scriptures indicate in verses 52 and 53, really verses 51 to 55, I guess, something like that, in this passage of scripture that has to do with the crucifixion. That's really something special, because it's not like they're making it up. These gospel writers. I mean, these gospel writers are giving you a heads up before the crucifixion chapters and before anything else comes up. It's just like, it's a proof of inspiration. It's a proof of inspiration that Mary went to Elizabeth talking about her pregnancy, because a woman would want to talk to another woman about that. You understand what I'm saying? It's also a proof of inspiration. Chapter 49 of Genesis, the prophecies that are recorded, that nobody's going to even take time to insert that. They're going to go right to chapter 50. They're not going to even bother with, prophecies of these people, of the 12 sons of Jacob, their characteristics and things that are going to do, that are going to be done, okay, in their lineage, in recorded history. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just some things are just so worthy of being evidence in the Bible of inspiration. I'm trying to say before my baby acts up again. You understand what I'm saying? So let's just read the English here. And before we get into the English, you understand, let's get back to that resurrection. What? You understand? Resurrection. Gersin. So you say you put the emphasis on the first syllable because of the acute marker. You see that little marker there? I'm right underneath the R in resurrection. Okay, reading the Greek from left to right, like you read English and Latin and Spanish and French and all that stuff. You understand what I'm saying? That's an acute marker. The marker that's placed like 7 o'clock on a clock, on an analog clock. That's an acute marker. So you raise the pronunciation of your accent then and there. When it drops to, like, let's say in an analog clock 5 o'clock, well, you drop your accent. Not though, but but Gerson. Okay, so that's the word that we should remember. And it comes from the lexical form egersis. It's just like ANASTASIS, the sigma iota sigma deal. So I think it's easier to remember the lexical form. Egersis, because of the sigma iota sigma, is easier to pronounce in your mind. You understand what I'm saying? The Egersis, I rather remember Egersis because it sounds like Anastasis. You understand what I'm saying? Let's just read, okay, if I can, because I'm a very slow reader because of my vision problem. I am legally blind, so please, be patient with me. It was kind of funny that a Jehovah's Witness, Mark from Missouri, said, "Do you have to read like that?" I said, well, I'm legally blind, remember? I'm sorry. And then when he reads, he has perfect sight. He used to be a football player, And then I said, well, wait a minute, you're doing the same thing I'm doing. Why are you breaking it up like that? It's like the Jetsons, you understand what I'm saying? It's like Judy singing with that sort of Elvis Presley imitator. And sometimes I love you. I mean, come fly with me. Come fly. He was reading like that too. You know what Jesus called that? He called that hypocrisy. You understand what I'm saying? Complaining about me, and then you're doing the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? Even worse. You're reading it so slow, and you're telling people you're reading it slowly. And then you complain about me in the same debate. It says over here in verse 51, okay, and behold, and that's, like I said, it's always an imperative. It's almost always an imperative anyway,
idete, idu, whatever, idete, I mean, you know. And behold, the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. And the earth, Greek word gay, nowadays pronounced gi, okay, shook. And the rocks were split. Okay? Verse 52. The tombs, not memorial tombs by the way, were open. And many bodies of the saints, the holy ones, you understand what I'm saying, who had fallen asleep, that would be a good series, were raised. Verse 53, this is the verse that I want you to recall as one of the resurrection verses. You understand what I'm saying? Verse 53. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they appeared. Okay, they appeared. What does it say? Oh, they entered the holy city and appeared to many. Now let me see what it says in verse 54. Well, it says basically, and the centurion and those who were with him, keeping guard over Jesus. Keeping guard over Jesus, or somebody was going to steal him? Come on, man. It's like Joe Biden all over again. So come on, man. When they saw the earthquake and the things that were happening, became very frightened and said, truly, now I don't know if it says amen over there, but anyway, truly this was the Son of God, the genitive of relationship, the Son of God. Okay? That's just the deal. That should be our attitude. Truly, this was the Son of God. Now, we don't deny that he's the Son of God. He has many titles in the Bible. The greatest of all is Son of Man. You understand what I'm saying? It's found and recorded like around 80 times in the Greek New Testament. Okay? You understand? This should be the attitude that Jesus was raised from the dead bodily. The same body that he had as a birthday shoot is the same body that was raised from the dead. And my baby's chuckling at my boldness and power. Right? You understand what I'm saying? Right, my love? He was raised from the dead. There's no doubt about it. And the verse 53 corroborates this claim. You understand what I mean? As Angelo Quinones is given glory to the God of Israel. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. And that means that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were very much alive at the time that Jesus said those words. And in the second sense, is my baby again. And in the second sense, that means that Jesus had a God because he was risen from the dead. And because he was risen from the dead, he has a God. It's not because of creaturehood. It's not that he was a creature. Catesis has nothing to do with Jesus at all. That's the deal, right, my love? Catesis has nothing to do with Christ, him being a creature. We're the creature. You're the creature. And you must bow down to Christ one day when you die. That's just what the deal. But this is giving you good news because he was raised from the dead. That means you will be justified, free of your sins, free of the guilty charge. Where is that located? Well, I'll let you know. The good news of the gospel. The good news. The gospel. Gospel account. The gospel. The good news. That you have been delivered. That you have been justified. That's what it says. That's what it means. Last verse, the last verse of Romans chapter 4 says something like this. Right, my love? It says what it says. It says he who was delivered over because of our transgressions and was raised because of our justification. That's just the deal. That's why he was risen from the dead, to justify us, to declare us not guilty in the court of God. I don't have to worry about my sins. You don't have to worry about your sins. Nobody has to worry about their sins if they believe and have faith in Christ who raises the dead. That's just the deal. So when you die, you don't have to worry, because Christ took it upon the cross for you. And then when he was raised from the dead, that's the coup de grace, that's the key. The resurrection of Jesus is the capstone of Christianity. Remove it and all else crumbles into dust. It is the singular doctrine of teaching that elevated Christianity above all the pagan religions of the world. End quote. That's a guarantee. The resurrection makes the cross of Christ complete. And that is the message of the gospel. That he was crucified. That he was raised. He was raised from the dead. And because you trust in that, you will be saved. Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. It says in Romans chapter 10, verse 9. That's just the deal. And the deal's the deal. And God can't lie. What he promises, he will keep. The gifts and the calling by God is without repentance. He doesn't change his mind. No, he doesn't. What he promises, he will keep and perform until the day of Jesus Christ. That's just the deal. All you have to do is trust. Trust in him and not yourself. That's what you got to do. You got to trust in his blood. You have to trust in his resurrection. And that's the only way to be justified in the sight of the living God, who gave Jesus Christ over for our deliverance, for our forgiveness, for our cleansing. You understand what I'm saying? That's just the deal. And the resurrection is the capstone that made everything complete. That's the gospel. And that's the gospel for you and for me today. It's the everlasting gospel. It's the gospel that doesn't change throughout all the years of time. Believe it. Believe it. Preach it. Teach it. Preach it upon the housetops. Preach it so those around you may be saved now. Thank you.